Hello, today we're going to look at Konpeito. It's a sugar like a rock candy, but it's from Japan, and I made these a very long time ago. But my daughter happened to go to a store yesterday and see some, so she picked some up, and I knew that if I don't do it, I probably will forget and not do it for a very long time unless it was a specific request. So we're going to go ahead and do this. To get the colors, you want them to be somewhat translucent. Here's a creative one. But what you're going to want to do is take a lot of translucent and a little bit of color. Depending on the color you use, you can use more or less. But I use a lot of translucent and a little bit of color. So here we mixed a little bit of that same pink and the translucent. Just rolled it into a ball. And then I am going to place the little balls around on my circle here, on my little ball. So I'm pushing them in gently. I'm not trying to smash them, but I want to make sure that they don't roll into each other, because sometimes they roll around a little bit in my next part of the process. And I've made the colors you see, I made a decent sized batch, getting the hang of it, and tested out different methods and found this is the one that I like the best. As you work with not the translucent, as you work with the TLS, you kind of get to see the different things that it does. So here I just put small balls on top of a larger ball, and you space them how you want. Now, this is what makes them look more realistic, is I take some TLS, rub it around, and this one, it doesn't have to be, like on my cakes, I have you rub it around till it gets really tacky, because we don't want globs on here. You don't have to worry about that so much with this. We actually want to coat it in the TLS. We're rolling it really gently because we don't want to completely flatten those little balls we put on. But the TLS on there starts actually melting the sides into the base ball of clay. If you want them to pop even more, you could even add a tiny bit more translucent to just the tiny balls. You don't want it to be a lot. You'd rather have it subtle, but that will make them look like they're popping out even more. But the TLS really does help melt the sides into the ball. It's hard to see right now here, but it is happening on a lot of these now. Let's see, can you see that right there? There's a couple of these right in here where they're already attached and they're not solid lines. It's just trying to make sure you're super gentle not to push down so hard that the balls get smashed, and that you're being gentle, but at the same time you're coating the TLS in there, and it rubs inside between those, so it starts to kind of melt the little balls of clay onto the bigger balls of clay where they meet. So it's basically how it happens. And it looks better too if you can put the little balls on where they stand out, or when they do it. Usually I put a couple more of the balls on when I did them. But yeah, so that is what you do, and you bake it. If you want to get a charm, you could stick a head pin in now. This is the Primo, so you could always stick it in later. But what I like to do is stick the head pin in and form a loop and put an ear wire on. Then I'll varnish the actual piece and let it hang to dry so the varnish doesn't get any little spots on it. So this is how they're made. Let me dry off my fingers so I could show you the other ones closer. Get some of that TLS off my hands. So here's this one, and as it cooks, as you can see, it definitely pops up, but you can't see the you can't see like solid lines where they're attached. And these, they're actually the same color. They're not lighter balls on top. It is the exact same color as the ball underneath. And I made these very, very early on in my shop. And this is before I started hanging them when I had the varnish on. I didn't sell this one because of how flat the varnish dripped down when it was drying. So I wanted to show you that and show you that's why I put the head pin in and hang them to dry. I started doing that shortly after this because I really didn't like the flat bottom that gave. You could trim it down, but it just doesn't look nice. So there they are. So here is my version of the Konpeito, and I hope that you enjoyed it and that you could get some use out of them. Thanks, guys.